Hello LEGO fans, Bricks Unbound here with another Building Hogwarts update. And we are back at the Astronomy Tower for this one. I have added on a decent amount of height to it. So in the previous update that specifically focused on the Astronomy Tower, and I guess probably the overview update as well, it pretty much was only up to this level here. I didn't have much of this tower behind done, or of this, I guess, turret is more what they are, this turret attached to the front corner here. So we'll just take a step back, and it is getting to the point where it's so tall that I can't get it all in one shot unless it is pushed way back in the room, and I am at the way back wall behind me. So bear with me here. We're mainly gonna focus on the top though. The lower section is pretty much the same. So this turret that's attached to the side here has another smaller turret attached to it. So I'm working on exactly how I want to do that. I think this actually worked relatively well. There's this gap on this side, which is unfortunate. Some little gaps here as well. Not ideal, but turns out it's kind of hard to stick a round thing up against another round thing. Especially if those things are made out of Lego. So still working on exactly how this is going to work. Right now, actually, I'll show you the inside of that. It is just standing on top of this stack of 2x2 bricks. That's what it's attached to, so it's fairly loose, but it does fill up the gap pretty well from this side. Unfortunately, from the outside, you can obviously see a little bit more issues. But this is just my first attempt at adding that on. This front one looks fine. It's very sturdy. It's very easy to attach a circular thing to a square thing in Lego, it turns out. So that was not really an issue at all to get it attached. Another tricky thing was getting this top row of windows to fit in there correctly. There's probably a little bit of pressure on things where there shouldn't be pressure, but it seems to be holding together, and it's all pretty sturdy right now as well. You'll notice it has a row of inverted slopes sticking out. That's because there is a walkway that goes around at this level. It does stop when it gets to this larger turret on the side. So it'll be on this side as well as over here. There'll be a little door in approximately this location where minifigs can exit out, which of course means that there's going to have to be a actual level here with an interior. So I do plan on doing that. Right now the interior of this lower section is just a mess. It hasn't really changed since previously, but I wanted to work on getting height figured out here because unfortunately with just how many things are attached to this level, I'm not going to be able to split this part up into multiple floors. I think if I adjust height, maybe drop this turret down a brick or two, or raise the windows and everything up a brick or two, then I can have a floor that can be removed from here, and that will allow me to do more of an astronomy classroom up there that's easier to see into. There is one section here that I hinged, so you can see basically the entrance and what will lead you upstairs to the platforms and things where they actually do the astronomy observations. So that's still to come, but I think it actually is starting to come together pretty well. I had to do several bricklink orders to get parts. For instance, these curved or rounded plates, I guess, are hard to come by in my collection, so I had to order a bunch of those, but should have enough to get a few more things accomplished. So as far as where this is still going, I do still have my reference for this, which is from the Harry Potter Film Vault Hogwarts Castle book. Because there's this nice picture of the Astronomy Tower here. Unfortunately, I looked through the book and there's not really this for any of the other sections of Hogwarts, which really is unfortunate because this is a pretty useful picture I have found. Because we've got our view from the front, so that's obviously where we are looking from here. Obviously this has a lot more sets of windows going up it in the official model, but it would be ridiculously tall, or I'd have to make the windows super tiny, which is not really something I want to do. I kind of like the proportions it's at now, but it's not necessarily out of the picture to just make them potentially one of those window frames tall, because then I could, you know, at least double the amount in there and get the proper amount of windows. See, as I'm talking about this, I'm talking myself into it, but of course that would mean rebuilding the whole thing, which isn't ideal. But anyway, so here's the view from the front. So you can see it's got that corner turret, and then from the front you can also see the larger one off to our right here, and the other one that sticks off of it. So that's looking pretty good, I think, overall. And then you can see what I'm talking about, where I was saying that there's going to be a maybe I hadn't mentioned this yet, but basically on top of here there's going to be another 4 or 5 bricks of just plain wall to match that image in the book, and then it'll have the big circle up above there and then come up to the peak above that. So that's what we're looking at here. And it also has nice images of the side as it turns here, which is pretty handy. So there's the walkway that I was talking about, and if we go over to this image you can see it from the other side. So on this last one, the front of the building is facing left. So that is this angle here. And I think it's coming along pretty nicely. It is going to be tricky to do the walkway on this curved section back here. I'm guessing I'm just going to have to, you know, use a bunch of hinges and smaller plates, basically only have it connected over here. And then I suppose at the end here, that's roughly lined up straight with the rest of the studs. And it'll just be hinged plates and things to hold everything in a curved shape. So I think that will work, hopefully without too much difficulty, but it always is a little tricky to do that. It's going to require, you know, plenty of tiles to give things support but not have them attach. And that really does it for this update. I think stuff's coming along pretty well. There are, of course, things that I need to improve upon. Some gaps around this little tower sticking out the side. Still terrible gaps and connections down here. So basically the base of how this is all attached in, I'll probably have to rebuild at some point. It gets the idea across, and depending on the angle you're looking at it from, it's not too bad, but especially when we're zoomed in, it's just very flat. As far as how I had to build that, you can see it's not really very curved, just on the very corners. So some work to figure out exactly how I want to do that part of it, and then just continuing to build up higher. So yeah, let me know what you think about how this project is coming along for the Astronomy Tower. Please leave me comments down below, and thank you for watching.